Hello, and welcome to Grade 5, Unit 3, Multiplication and Division with Fractions. This is probably one of the hardest units in all of 5th grade math. So make sure you're taking some good notes, doing some extra practice, paying close attention, and good luck. Have this note sheet out. Also have your notebook ready so that you can take some extra notes and do some of the extra practice problems. Here we go. First thing we're going to talk about is simplifying fractions. Remember, we've done this for a while now. Simplifying fractions is where we want to find the GCF, the greatest common factor, that both numbers share, so that we can divide the top and the bottom number by the GCF. So if I start with 28, and I start finding all the factors of 28, I know I have 1 in 28. I have 2 and 14. I have 4 and 7. And those are all my factors of 28. So now I'm going to want to find them of 84. My first one is 1 in 84. Well, 84 is out of the picture because I don't have that high for the 28. The next one is 2 and 42. My next one is 3 and 28. And I can already stop with all my factors because I see a high number that they both already share, which is 28. So I'm going to divide both these numbers by 28 because that's the biggest number that I can divide them both by. And when I divide 28 by 28, I get 1. And when I divide 84 by 28, I get 3. So that would be my most simplified answer because I found the GCF, the greatest common factor that they both share. Multiplying fractions. Multiplying fractions is something that you did in 4th grade. So just a refresher, if we have a whole number, we always write the whole number over 1. And then we want to simplify tops and bottoms first. And then we multiply across the top, multiply across the bottom, and then we convert our answer if needed. So let's take a look at the first one here. I'm going to simplify 15 and 5. I can divide both of those numbers by 5. So 5 divided by 5 is 1. 15 divided by 5 is 3. I can also simplify the 2 and the 8. I can divide them both by 2. So I get, that is my answer. Now I multiply straight across the top. I get 3. I multiply straight across the bottom. I get 4. And that is my best answer, 3/4. When you're multiplying a mixed number like here, the first step you're going to want to do is convert it to an improper fraction. So 2 times 9, which is 18, plus the 4, which is 22. And we keep that bottom number the same because that's how many parts we have. Times, we can keep our next fraction the same. If this was also a mixed number, we would want to convert it also. We simplify tops and bottoms. In this case, my 3 and my 9, they can both be divided by 3. And my 22 and my 10 can both be divided by 2. So now I have 11 times 1 on the top, which is 11. And I have 3 times 5 on the bottom, which is 15. And that would be my answer, 11/15. Understanding multiplying fractions. This is probably the step that gets a little bit more confusing. When we multiply whole numbers, the answer gets larger. But we're not always multiplying whole numbers. Now we're multiplying a part times a part. So we have a part of an answer. We have a part of an answer. When we multiply these together, we get the answer of 732. 732 is quite a small number because we are multiplying it into parts, not into whole amounts now. This next one, I have 7 over 7. That makes 1 whole. And anytime we do 1 times a number, it's going to stay that number. So this one's going to stay 7/10. That is the identity property. In the last one here, we have a part with a mixed number. So this means I have more than a whole. When I multiply this, I'm going to want to convert that second fraction to an improper fraction. And I get 14/9 when I do that. When I multiply straight across top, straight across the bottom, I get 28/27. And then I'm going to convert that, which gets me 1 and 1/27. Notice, my answer is bigger than what I started with of that 2/3 because I was multiplying more than a whole. So when I multiply a whole, I get the same amount. When I multiply more than a whole to it, I get a bigger number. And when I multiply a part to it, I get a smaller number. Dividing fractions. You might hear this many different ways. I really like keep flip flip because it helps keep it in your head. You might hear maybe the KFC method of keep change flip. Using the letters of the KFC. So the first thing we do is we keep the first fraction. So we never change our first fraction in division. And remember, our first fraction would be a total amount if it was a word problem. Because when we do division problems, we start with the total amount and we divide by a part. Okay, so we keep our first one the same. We are going to change to the partner math. Division's partner is multiplication. And then we are going to flip the second fraction. This is called the reciprocal. So we're going to have the reciprocal fraction, the flipped fraction. Now we follow the steps as multiplication. We simplify top and bottoms if we can. In this case, we can't. So then we multiply straight across the top, we get 9. Straight across the bottom, we get 10. And that is our best answer, 9/10. Again, we kept the first number, we flipped the symbol, and we flipped the fraction, the second fraction. So keep flip flip, if you can keep that in your mind. Or again, as some people like to say, is they keep the first one, they flip the second one, and they change the symbol. So that would be the KFC method. Both work. Use whichever one you prefer best. I just like the keep flip flip. So here are some things if you're going to be doing word problems. In a word problem, you have to ask yourself maybe the questions. Are you taking part of a whole? If so, you're multiplying. Are you trying to find the total amount you need for people, space, a container, so on and so forth? Then you're multiplying. Is the problem asking for the total? If so, you're multiplying. And are you taking part of a whole? So all of those would use multiplication. In division, we can ask these questions. Are you dividing a given amount into equal groups? Are you taking an amount and sorting it, breaking it up, or cutting it into equal parts? Are you eating, drinking, or using an equal amount of a total each day and looking for how much you eat or use each day. So those are some items that can help you know if you should be multiplying or if you should be dividing when you work with word problems. Now it's your time to try some of these examples. Pause the video here, give them a shot, resume when you're ready to check your answers. All right, welcome back. Number 1, as one of her chores, Stacy must vacuum 1/3 of the house. If she already vacuumed 1/4 of her share tonight, what part of the house has she vacuumed? So we are going to do multiplication on this to find the total amount of the house. So we do 1/3 times the 1/4. We multiply across the top, across the bottom, and we get an answer of 1/12 of the house. Number 2, of the movies in Julio's collection, 3/10 are on DVD. Of those, 2/5 are action movies. What fraction of Julio's movie collection are action DVDs? So again, we're going to multiply 3/10 times 2/5. We can simplify the 2 and the 10 by dividing them both by 2, and we get 1 and 5. We multiply straight across the top, we get 3. Straight across the bottom, we get 25, and that is our answer, 3/25. The next one, predict whether the product is greater than, less than, or equal to 2/3. So if I'm looking at 2/3, I'm going to look at the fraction after it, 1 6/7. Because that is a mixed number, I know that my answer is going to be greater than 2/3 because we're multiplying by more than a whole. So when I do the multiplication, I have 2/3. I'm going to convert 1 6/7 to 13/7. I then multiply straight across top, straight across the bottom because I couldn't simplify anything. And I get 26/21, which converts to 1 5/21, which is greater than 2/3. Number 4, Debbie is making bows that use 1/5 yard of ribbon each. If she has 3 yards of ribbon, how many bows can she make? So this can be a division problem. We have 3 yards total, and we divide it by the 1/15. Now this would be that keep, flip, flip. And so we ended up with 3/1 times 5/1, which gets us a total of 15. So if we use the division, we can also check all of our other problems to see if any of the rest of them get us to that same answer. And we'd find out that 3 times 5 gets us to the same answer of 15, so that one also works. Number 5, Marie plants flowers in a planter that is 2 1/2 feet long and 1 1/3 feet wide. She plans to cover the entire area with fertilizer. How much area will she need to spread with the fertilizer? So we're going to take our 2 mixed numbers. Since we're multiplying, we're going to convert them to improper. So 2 1/2 becomes 5/2 times 1 1/3 becomes 4/3. We can simplify the 4 and the 2. Then we multiply straight across the top, we get 10. Straight across the bottom, we get 3. We know that 3 goes into 10 3 times with 1 left over, so our answer is 3 1/3. If you're not quite feeling ready for this unit, try going on IXL and working through any of the skills planned for Grade 5 Unit 3. Also, the Math Activity Center lesson checks is a great way to practice these skills some more. Good luck, and rewatch the video as needed.